Another day, another video from your favorite recapper Chimi. Today I'll recap this one revenge anime about a bullied son of a hero. Enjoy. The Honored One is in the courtyard. A teen named Earth crashes to the ground, staring up at the sword pointed directly at his face by a girl. The crowd marvels as Princess Phoenix wins again, which is no surprise given that she's the daughter of Solja, one of the 7 heroes. Phoenix addresses Earth, telling him that while his skills are improving, he still hasn't mastered his magic sword. Damn, what a roast coming from a girl. As Earth's childhood friend, her constant nagging irritates him. She reminds him that he's never the one with Mahorga and managed to defeat her, which is true because he's not Gojo. As Earth always comes second place after the nation's imperial princess. As Phoenix continues her tirade, Earth overhears some girls complimenting him. Phoenix hears them as well, making her rush over to them. She starts badmouthing Earth, like a lowly bitch she is that she calls him a pervert. The girls believe her, much to his frustration. But would he lose? It's a routine he's all too familiar with. Phoenix then turns back to him, mentioning how disappointed his father must be with his current state. Earth clenches his fists, sick of hearing those words. After school, some knights discuss the younger generation, lamenting their lack of skill, when they notice someone practicing alone in the courtyard. Upon closer look, they realize it's lore hero's son, Earth. They start gossiping about how strange it is that the son of the most talented hero is considered a failure. In the past, 7 brave heroes defeated the great demon king. As the son of one of the heroes, Earth's lacking abilities is a point of gossip. Earth abruptly interrupts the knight's conversation, shamelessly admitting that he has shown them a pitiful sight. Even Goku thinks he's not the strongest for sure. But they tell him it can't be helped since his opponent is the princess, but this only annoys Earth more. He's tired of their lectures. Suddenly, someone declares that Earth should listen to the knights. It's Earth's father Hero. Earth's mood darkens as his father comments on his latest loss to Phoenix. Hero reveals that he and Solja were rivals too, but then he adds a stinging remark about how Earth's opponent is a girl. He begins to brag about his own past accomplishments, like when Sukuna calls to his daddy Mahorga and is too self-absorbed to notice his son's struggles. Boldly, Earth asks his father to teach him swordplay so he can finally beat the princess, but Hero brushes him off, claiming he's too busy with work. But nah guy, don't worry, he would say I'd win later. Earth feels the familiar sting of disappointment. His father never teaches him anything, leaving him to desperately train on his own to meet everyone's expectations. When Hero describes him as a slow learner, Earth snaps back, saying it's because his father never cared enough to teach him. He argues that taking second place is an achievement in itself, asking what's so wrong with not being first. His outburst shocks Hero and the knights. With no reply, Earth storms off, not wanting anyone's pity, frustrated with himself for yelling like that. Later, Earth returns home and notices someone in the garden, a beautiful woman. He instantly blushes, but then, she teases him by calling him a virgin. Not knowing how to respond, Earth reflects on how this woman, Sadith, is their family's personal maid. She was a war orphan taken in by his mother, and became like a distant sister to him. Over time, she grew into someone Earth secretly wanted to marry. He explains he left school early because he felt mentally drained, but Sadith figures out it's because he lost to the princess again. Earth tries to deflect, saying it's not about that, claiming he could just skip classes and still become an imperial knight like his father wants. When Sadith correctly guesses that he met with Hero, Earth vents his frustration about being constantly compared to his father. Sadith sympathizes, revealing that Hero was known for being a difficult student unlike Earth, who's quite accomplished at the academy. She reassures him that everyone's attention is on him, because he's important to them. Earth feels touched by her words. Sadith always knows how to lift his spirits, and that's one of the reasons he came to love her. She says she'll give reward, but when she reveals that she only intends to cook him omelet, Sadith teases Earth for looking disappointed. In the midst of his embarrassment, Sadith mentions something intriguing. It's time for the annual cleaning of the sealed room. Knowing Earth's curiosity, she leads him inside, though she has to leave to fetch more cleaning supplies. Before leaving, she permits him to see the Sword of Legend, doubting Earth could steal it even if he tried. Earth huffs, but approaches the heavily secured door. Before he was born, a war raged between the demons and humans, with Hero defeating the demon king using this very sword, now sealed behind the door. As a child, Earth was always excited to see it. He unlocks the door and pushes it open, only to be shocked by what he sees, a horned figure floating inside the room. The entity turns around, muttering something about it being a year since he was last disturbed. Earth stares in disbelief, unsure if the creature is a man or a woman. The demon presumes it's been 15 years since his imprisonment and realizes it's not the usual maid who opened the door. Looking closer at Earth, the demon recognizes him as Hero's son. Earth demands to know who he is and how he got inside, shocking the demon, who asks if Hero can see him. Just then, Sadith returns, wondering why Earth is being so noisy. He urgently points out the intruder, but Sadith doesn't see anyone. She assumes that he must be seeing hallucinations or pranking her to cause mischief. After she leaves again, the demon observes that it seems only Earth can see him. Alarmed, Earth grabs a mop and lunges at the demon, channeling his power into his makeshift weapon. The demon recognizes the technique as the magic sword technique and compares Earth to Hero, which infuriates Earth. He demands the demon to be quiet, but his attack passes right through the entity. The demon calmly explains that it's pointless, he currently exists only in a spiritual form. Seeing Earth's confusion, the demon decides to tell the boy his name. He introduces himself as Trey, the Great Demon King, leaving Earth frozen in shock and fear. Everyone knows who Trey is, so Earth faints, much to Sadith's alarm. When he wakes up, he thinks it was all just a bad dream. Sitting up, he's immediately hugged by relieved Sadith, making him blush. Confused, Earth asks why they're in his room, and Sadith explains that she found him unconscious, but notes that he seems fine now. But as soon as he spots Trey floating above him, Earth's alarm returns. Sadith, however, still sees no one and assumes he's playing games again. After she leaves to cook dinner, Trey speaks to Earth, reminding the boy that only he can see him. He confirms that he is indeed the Great Demon King. When Earth asks why Trey is in his family's armory, Trey explains that his spirit has been trapped in the sword ever since his defeat. Hero stored the sword away without knowing this. Worse, Trey reveals that he seems to be bound to Earth, a revelation that troubles the boy. He reveals he couldn't separate himself from Earth no matter what he does. Trey, who's tired of being imprisoned, demands Earth take him outside. Earth refuses outright, given who Trey is, but the demon smirks, commanding him to obey. When Earth doesn't budge, Trey resorts to pouting, shoving his face against Earth's until the boy reluctantly agrees, albeit only for a quick walk. Sadith returns and asks where he's going. When he replies that he's heading to town, she assumes he's planning to go out and play. Instantly, she hurls utensils at him, pinning him to the wall with terrifying precision. Trey, witnessing this, wonders if she's really just a maid given her skill. Sadith, looking furious, tells Earth she had planned to pamper him since he seemed down earlier, her menacing expression alarming the boy. But since he's apparently healthy enough to go to town, she decides he needs to be punished for skipping classes. Both Earth and Trey look scared, and moments later, Earth's scream of pain echoes through the house. The next day, Earth is still exhausted after last night's ordeal, but relieved that Sadith finally let him go. His only problem now is Trey, who's fascinated by every modern thing he sees. The demon marvels at how advanced humans are compared to demons. When Earth asks for his thoughts on the town, Trey's mood shifts. He notes that while human society has developed, some aspects remain backward and problematic. If he were still alive, he would destroy the whole place without hesitation. But he admits that his feelings don't matter anymore. Humans have gained peace since his defeat, creating a city out of their own ingenuity. Hearing Trey admit defeat, Earth finds it strange. The Demon King described in textbooks as a bloodthirsty tyrant, but the one before him seems more thoughtful and aware of his limitations. He even looks lonely, though Earth doesn't dare say it out loud. Trey reveals he has one regret: the heroes' party. During the battle between him and the 7 heroes, the humans had united, channeling their power into Hero's sword. Trey, alarmed, had tried to stop them, warning that their attack could kill him. But he was too late, and the resulting strike caused his defeat. Even now, Trey is furious that the heroes ganged up on him, screaming in frustration. Earth points out that Trey also had allies, but the Demon King doesn't want to talk about it. While Earth wonders if he hit a nerve, Trey spots a familiar series in his store window, and demands that Earth buy the sequel to Destiny's Stay Night. Apparently the Demon King was a huge fan, and he threatens to mumble in Earth's ear all day if he doesn't comply. With no choice, Earth loudly agrees, only for Trey to inform him that he can hear his inner thoughts. At school, Trey starts pestering Earth about a specific girl. Earth explains that Phoenix is the daughter of His Majesty's soldier. When Trey comments on her intelligence and incredible magical aura, Earth becomes sad, thinking that even the Great Demon King is impressed by the princess. Trey picks up on his frustration, when suddenly Earth is hit with a book by his teacher, who chastises him for not paying attention. The teacher then adds that Earth had been staring at Phoenix, making the girl blush. As punishment, the teacher asks Earth to answer a difficult question, which isn't great since he wasn't listening in class. Earth answers that the Demon King possesses the heraldic eye, but Trey immediately corrects him, saying it's false. The truth is Trey has the 6th gate eye, a hidden but far more powerful ability, which Earth blurts out. The whole class is shocked, and the teacher is left bewildered, having no idea what Earth is talking about. This confusion leaves both Earth and Trey at a loss. The teacher, thinking Earth deliberately gave a wrong answer, orders him to stay after school for detention. Disappointed, the teacher reminds Earth that he's the son of a hero and should do better, warning him not to mess up in the upcoming graduation match. Later, Earth angrily blames Trey for getting him detention, but the demon is more interested in this match the teacher mentioned. Earth explains that the graduation match is where top students showcase their skills. Hearing that Earth will participate, Trey asks if he's prepared. Earth admits he hasn't already resigned to embarrassing himself, which gets the demon thinking. Trey then asks if Phoenix was the one Earth was thinking about earlier, catching the boy off guard. Trey reminds him that he can hear his thoughts, so he knows about Earth's frustrations with her and his father. He knows that Earth wants to prove himself, but has already given up, feeling too weak to succeed. Earth, frustrated, yells that Trey knows nothing about him, about how hard he's tried. But Trey dismisses his argument as weak. He calls Hero a fool with amazing luck, which is why Earth can't surpass him. Utterly frustrated, Earth thinks Trey is just like everyone else looking down at him. He reminds the Demon King that he had lost and shouldn't be talking about how Earth can't surpass his father. Earth mocks Trey, saying his complaints about being ganged up on are just excuses. Earth then boldly declares he has no right to lecture him about strength. However, his anger turns to surprise when the furious Demon King transforms into something horrific, his fearsome aura filling the boy with dread. Earth suddenly feels terrified even if he's just experiencing an echo of the Demon King's magic. Trey claims that Earth will serve as proof then of how powerful he is than the brave hero. Earth expresses his doubt as Trey only possesses a spirit body, but the demon claims that he'll be using Earth to do so. He plans to teach Earth the power the great Demon King holds, to show everyone in the world, including the so-called 7 heroes, the supreme power he holds. As the looming graduation match approaches, Trey decides it's time to test Earth's overall abilities. Earth immediately replies no thanks, which bewilders the Demon King. Earth explains that with only 2 months left, there's no way he can improve enough to make a difference. He confesses his struggles, revealing that despite all his efforts, even asking Sadaf to train him, he always falls short, leaving Earth feeling like the perpetual disappointment of a hero's son. Trey muses that perhaps Earth is simply lacking motivation. The teen says his aim is to become an Imperial Knight, but Trey questions if that's truly his own desire. If not, it'd be understandable why Earth isn't motivated. The teen reflects that he doesn't actually want to become some legendary warrior, he's only been chasing the path of a knight because that's what everyone expects of him. Unsure of what he really wants, Earth listens as Trey suggests setting a short-term goal for now. Winning the graduation match in 2 months. To keep Earth focused, Trey decides that a little impure motivation might do the trick. Later they begin a peculiar training session with a ladder laid out on the ground. Leaving Earth baffled, Trey explains that this is ladder training, designed to improve stamina and agility. Earth is to learn the magical step, a technique that sounds incredibly lame to the teen. The Demon King pouts, reminding Earth that the other can hear his every thought. He wonders what training the great Demon King can offer him, and so he observes as Trey demonstrates. The Demon King rapidly jumps between the rungs, finishing with a flourish. Earth is still confused, but Trey slows down to explain the steps, demonstrating straight jumps. Bemused by the simplicity of the exercise, Earth stifles a laugh as Trey's movements remind him of a beetle. Trey glares and the teen resolves to become more focused. Next, the Demon King shows how to jump side to side, which only makes Earth chuckle more, as the demon now reminds him of a shrimp. After shooting the boy an even severe death glare, Trey next demonstrates how to hop from 1 foot to both feet, reminding Earth of a game called hopscotch. He pictures kids playing in an alleyway, one of them telling Trey that it's his turn. The kid-like Demon King excitedly agrees, looking ridiculous as he plays the game. In reality, Trey snarls at Earth, pissed that the teen is not taking the training seriously. Trey plans to have Earth perform a jump along a magic attribute that he'll call out. The teen thinks it sounds easy, but quickly realizes the training is much tougher than expected. As he obeys every instruction, he finds his body isn't moving like he wants it to. Trey reveals that ladder training improves both physical ability and agility, skills that Earth lacks because he's always focused on only one thing at a time. When in battle, it's important that his body is in sync with his mind. Reflecting on how slow he always is in reacting to Phoenix's attacks, Earth feels a renewed determination to train. After a while, Earth is breathing heavily before collapsing in exhaustion. While Trey is proud of the training that he invented, Earth thinks that he's in worse shape than he thought. The demon informs him that they'll do ladder training daily, followed by physical techniques. When Earth asks about swordsmanship, as his father excels in swords, Trey surprises him by saying they won't focus on it at all. Earth simply has no talent for it. Trey reveals that when they first met, he immediately noticed that Earth's fighting style didn't suit him. Hiro's magic sword relies on intense magical power, an ability Earth lacks. Hearing this, Earth bursts into hysterical laughter, recalling the 15 years he's wasted practicing swordsmanship. It all seems like a colossal waste, but just as despair starts to creep in, Trey reveals that Earth does possess a strength his father doesn't: flexibility. He's supple and spring-like, much like his mother, the priestess mammal, one of the 7 heroes. Trey declares that Earth's true talent lies in physical techniques, and by focusing on what he's good at, he can surpass Hiro. Earth laughs again, this time with a sense of amusement, imagining everyone's surprise when they see the hero's son not wielding a sword. Trey asks if he's unhappy with this revelation, but Earth feels the opposite. Excitedly, he asks Trey to guide him down this new path, which makes the demon smile. Suddenly, Sadith interrupts, asking Earth who he's talking to, wondering if he's made an imaginary friend out of loneliness. She notices the ladder on the ground, curious about it. When she asks if Earth came up with the idea to train with a ladder, Earth is awed by how quickly she understands its purpose. When he asks why she approached him, Sadith hands him the menu he requested earlier. Both he and Trey read the paper's contents. Eventually, the demon concludes that it's quite a rich menu. Earth thinks he's referring to how delicious the menu sounds, but Trey is actually referring to how well balanced and nutritious it is, leading him to conclude that she must care a lot about Earth. Feeling quite touched, Earth recalls the poor orphan his mother saved. When he was young, whenever Earth wanted attention but his parents were busy, leaving him alone and sad in their big house, someone would call out to him, Sadith. She would praise him for his good grades and celebrate his little accomplishments. Earth always felt touched, and eventually Sadith became someone very precious to him. In the present, Trey encourages him to express his feelings to her, nodding at him meaningfully. Just as Sadith wonders if the menu isn't to his liking, Earth blurts out that he's determined to win his match in 2 months, surprising her. He contemplates asking for a kiss or a date as a reward, but instead, he impulsively says he wants to touch her chest if he wins. Immediately, Sadith looks disgusted, while Trey's eyes widen at his boldness. A moment of silence follows before Earth shrieks in embarrassment, apologizing frantically. Sadith, looking terrifying, surprisingly agrees to his request, though she makes it clear it's utterly repulsive. However, she's moved by his declaration to win and agrees to give him the reward if he succeeds before walking away. Earth is more motivated than ever, and Trey realizes that impure motivation is surprisingly effective. At that time, Earth was feeling great, unaware that he would become the worst and lose Sadith. In the present, now that they're done warming up, the Great Demon King demands that Earth fight him, leaving the boy looking stunned. Immediately, Trey gets Earth started on techniques for physical training. He explains that while Shadows is all about dodging imaginary enemies, sparring simulates a mock battle between 2 people. Since Trey is a spirit, he introduces their training as phantom sparring. Earth correctly guesses that this means they'll be dueling, making him excited. Until now, he had only engaged in mock battles with weak opponents or fiends. Given the presence of other monstrous individuals, Earth finds it difficult to accurately gauge his abilities in a closed environment like school. That's why he's looking forward to fighting the Demon King for real. Trey mentions he won't be flying much during the fight, but Earth is more curious about how he'll land a hit when he's in apparition. Trey claims that with his power, it's possible, and without warning, launches a rapid attack. Earth, caught off guard, falls to his knees, clutching his throat. The Demon King asks if he really believes he's been injured, and Earth realizes that he just imagined the whole thing. The injury wasn't real. Despite no actual harm, the feeling of dying lingers, shaking him to his core. Trey taunts him, triggering Earth's anger with a jab about being the hero's son. Earth charges forward, but Trey mocks him, comparing his reckless lunge to that of an impatient child. Annoyed by the demon's smug expression, Earth tries a clever distraction using his fist to mask a kick aimed at Trey. However, Trey's well-placed fingers freeze Earth. The demon asks why he stopped attacking, wondering if Earth's instincts kicked in once he was 1 step closer to death. Immediately, Earth retreats and uses his magic. He summons a magic circle before unleashing his thunder magic. With Trey distracted, Earth raises his leg, slamming it onto the ground and summoning an earthquake. However, the demon disappears, jumping into the air. He's disappointed that the teen uses another straightforward attack, though he acknowledges that the magic used is quite powerful. The demon says Earth is doing fine, but he intends to teach the teen a lesson by showing him the magnitude of power that the Demon King possesses. Elsewhere, Phoenix opens her eyes, realizing that she fell asleep in her room, which makes sense given what happened earlier. She then recalls the nostalgic dreams she had about her younger days. She dreamt of her childhood friends and of her younger self, who was happy whenever they came for her. A knock on her door interrupts her thoughts, and soon, a maid enters, telling the princess that she has received a letter. Phoenix's eyes widen as she recognizes who sent it. At the same time, Earth lies on the ground, totally exhausted. While Trey is satisfied with their training, Earth reflects that he couldn't even land a single hit during the spar, and the Demon King wasn't even using any special techniques. Earth had been continually struck over and over again, losing the confidence he gained from defeating opponents other than Phoenix. As he admits that he never realized how weak he is, a sudden thought pops into his mind. Earth's father had fought Trey in the past, along with the other 6 heroes. Unlike Earth, who was instantly defeated by Trey, his father managed to beat the Demon King. The team can't help but wonder how his father did it. Earth admits that he doesn't really know much about Hero, as his father is always busy or lecturing him when they talk. When Trey asks if he listened to any of Hero's boasting, Earth falls silent. The demon reveals that although Hero may seem detestable on the outside, his journey to becoming the hero who defeated the Demon King was not an easy one. He recommends that Earth learn about his father's story. The teen reflects on how he always hated when his father talked about the past, but now he's curious about the difficulties the adults faced in the past. Earth tells Trey that he'd also like to hear about his past, but for now, the Demon King chooses to stay silent. The next morning, Earth feels sore all over. As he banters with Trey, someone calls out to him. Turning towards a stall, he notices Phoenix, who remarks that it's unusual for them to meet there. Curious why the princess has no escorts around, he notices the empty cup she's holding. Sounding quite panicked, Phoenix explains that she heard the fruit juice from the stall is delicious, and insists that the cup is empty not because she's been waiting there all morning. Trey, skeptical, assumes she's been waiting to ambush Earth. As they head toward the school, Phoenix asks Earth about his plans after graduation, but he only replies with nothing special. She reveals that she's been thinking. After the graduation matches, she'll soon be announced as queen. She asks Earth if he's aware of how she feels, to which he answers yes, much to Trey's doubt. As the future queen, Earth reflects that his and Phoenix's aims have always been entirely different. At the moment, Phoenix shyly asks if Earth was truly staring at her in class yesterday. Earth shamelessly says yes, shocking the Demon King. Having received his confirmation, Phoenix declares that she'll be winning their graduation match, after which she plans to announce something to Earth and everyone else. Usually, Earth would tell her to do her best, but that was the old him. Instead, he tells the princess that he'll be the one winning the match. Yesterday's training helped him realize his true potential, and now he wants to show Sadith and everyone else his cool side. Additionally, he plans to learn about his father's past. He tells Phoenix that there's something he can't give up, surprising her with his conviction. She asks if this is his confession to her, which he confirms while thinking that he can't let her find out about his deal with Sadith. Phoenix blushes heavily and tells Earth that they should fight wholeheartedly in their match, a big smile on her face. Behind them, Trey thinks that the two teens are talking about entirely different things, but decides to let it be, as it'll be more interesting for him. Just as they arrive at school, Earth realizes he had forgotten something important. Actually, he was trying not to think about them, the barriers that stand in front of him. Two familiar guys have just returned to their school, much to Phoenix's surprise and Earth's dismay. In the past, during a tutoring session, young Phoenix struggles to concentrate, earning the ire of her strict governess. Distracted, she suddenly hears her name being called and rushes to the window. Without a second thought, she climbs onto the windowsill and leaps out recklessly. The governess, horrified, races after her, only to find the princess was fine, secured by one of the kids' magic. The governess is far from pleased to see the boys again. She threatens to report them to their fathers, but Earth boldly refuses to let Phoenix be taken back, even going so far as to call the governess a demon king. The governess claims Earth couldn't be a hero like his father if he continues behaving this way. Earth confidently retorts that while Fuji is the best mage in the world, Rival the best swordsman, and Phoenix the best lancer, he will surpass his father to become the strongest hero in the world. Suddenly, Sadith arrives, much to Earth's shock and Phoenix's frustration. At that time, Earth was full of unwavering confidence, not knowing how cruel reality can be. When Trey asks what's going on, Earth reveals that two of the children of the 7 heroes have just returned. He points out the tall one is Rival, the son of Master Swordsman, while the shorter one is Fuji, the son of the Great Mage. When Phoenix mentions that they'd written her a letter about their return from abroad, Earth explains to Trey that the 2nd and 3rd ranked students of their year decided to study overseas. Trey then realizes that Earth isn't in 2nd place, but actually ranks 4th. Just then, Fuji notices Phoenix and Earth and calls out to them. The other students immediately bow before the princess, and Rival and Fuji ask for updates about Earth. Phoenix steps in to inform them that Earth has been diligent in his studies and training, much to his frustration. Fuji proudly reveals that he and Rival faced a group of dragons abroad and emerged victorious. Trey quietly hints that Earth is different from the other children of the 7 heroes, while a student requests Fuji to demonstrate the power he gained from studying abroad. Though hesitant at first, Fuji eventually agrees, cautioning everyone not to expect too much. Summoning a magic circle, Fuji extends his hands before unleashing a huge magical attack, shocking everyone except Trey. Earth is stunned, unable to believe that Fuji's powerful display is just a low-level spell, and he wonders what Fuji is truly capable of if he goes all out. Noticing the crowd's silence, Fuji apologizes for disappointing them, but the students quickly assure him that he's amazing. Earth, however, becomes even more annoyed, especially when Rival comments that such power isn't surprising at all. He tells a fuming Earth that they've returned from abroad with absolute power, and that Earth stands no chance of defeating them. When Earth accuses him of being cocky and showing off with Fuji's magic, Rival suddenly disappears, only to reappear right behind Earth, shocking him. Rival declares that showing off to lesser opponents is pointless and reveals the real reason for their return. They intend to participate in the graduation matches and win. As children of the 7 heroes, Rival believes they must surpass their fathers. He declares that when he wins, he'll dedicate his victory to one person. As it dawns on Earth that he never stood a chance against his childhood friends, Phoenix speaks up, saying she won't let Rival's proclamation go unchallenged. She believes that she's accomplished a lot and declares she won't be giving up her victory. Rival addresses her by name, saying he won't lose at all because when he wins, he wants to become a candidate for her hand in marriage. Earth is shocked, not expecting that Rival would have feelings for Phoenix, while a crowd of girls becomes excited. Phoenix is initially at a loss for words before revealing that she only thinks of Rival as a friend. It turns out he already knows who the princess has feelings for, and it's why he's hostile toward Earth, who's dense as ever. Earth silently thinks they're a good match and wishes the two all the best, but Trey thinks otherwise. He tells Earth that, like Phoenix, Rival too can't win. While Earth thinks he's got no chance at winning, the Demon King isn't impressed at all with their power. Both the defeat of a dragon and possessing a mega-tier skill after studying abroad are just mere child's play to him when he had vanquished a Dragon King and possessed exact class magic. Stunned, Earth listens as Trey says that 2 months under his tutelage easily surpass any training the others got. Trey tells Earth to trust him as after all, Earth is the disciple of the Demon King. Boldly, Earth addresses Rival, apologizing for interrupting their excitement. He declares that it'll be him who's going to win the graduation match. Earlier, Trey had dared Earth to proclaim his goals to his childhood friends so that he would feel the urgency not to fail. After hearing his proclamation, Rival glares at Earth, assuming he shares the same intentions. Earth simply states that there is something he cannot give up, which only fuels the excitement among the girls behind him. While he's confused by their reaction behind him, Phoenix is flustered, wondering if Earth is talking about her. Meanwhile, Fuji is torn between which childhood friend to support. Trey is amused and Earth comes to the realization that he'll have to get used to everyone's eccentricities. While observing Earth's class, Trey can't help but comment on how basic the lessons are. He finds it absurd that students are spending time writing down equations and solving them manually when they could simply use a spell like automatic calculation. Eager to demonstrate, Trey tells Earth to prepare a magic sigil and then begins teaching him an incantation. Instantly, Earth sees the answers to the equation, his hand moving automatically. Before he knows it, he has already written down all the answers. Trey chuckles, clearly amused by Earth's reaction, and explains that the incantation H removes the need to spend time on calculations altogether. He calls the spell X-Scale. With this spell, Earth realizes that he'll breeze through exams with ease. Just then, the teacher calls on Earth, instructing him to solve the equation on the board. Without missing a beat, Earth focuses on the numbers, activates X-Scale, and the answer flows through him as he writes it down swiftly. With a final swish, he finishes, leaving the entire class, including the teacher, in stunned silence. As Earth casually returns to his seat, the teacher asks where his intermediate calculations are. Earth freezes, and so does Trey. The demon realizes his oversight, while Earth gets into trouble. Earth asks Trey where they are, as they're in some sort of wide, blank space. The demon reveals they're inside his mind, having used virtual reality illusion magic, which allows him to control Earth's dreams as he sleeps. He decides that Earth will do image training instead of listening to classes. Trey confirms he's real and reminds Earth that the reason they can talk to each other is because their spirits are connected. So when Trey uses VR, their connection allows him to enter Earth's dream and manipulate it. As he processes this information, Earth muses that he could use VR to conjure dreams, but Trey tells him he won't allow that, which disappoints the demon.